being sick for the past 3 days. So good luck to me. Hopefully I'm ready today. Might be a busy day. I'm normally live stream on Thursdays because that's hump day. Basically it's Wednesday night going into Thursday morning. Where the bars are busy, and Westport's got such a lovely reputation these days as a place to go get yourself killed. But last Thursday was deader than a doornail. And so, I also live stream when there's weather events happening. And we're under an extreme wind warning, and everybody's going crazy about it. Now, right now I'm wearing short sleeves, and I'm perfectly comfortable. Matter of fact, I should turn everything off. I don't even need the heater or the air conditioner or anything. Warm for December. My live stream's still there. But when I looked up into the sky, now the wind on the ground is nice, just normal breezes. But when I looked up in the sky, those clouds are racing. I don't know if you can see that in the live stream. This camera is very good at low light at night. So maybe when I drive around, you can see how fast the clouds are moving. Don't know if we're gonna have any severe weather out of this. I don't think so. But other than wind knocking things down and. Now I don't know if this is like wish casting on the part of disaster. What would you call them? Disaster pimps who love a good disaster because they're basically bored. And tends to be a lot of those in weather. Like, ooh, this tornado is going to be catastrophic. It's going to be like going into a war zone. You can disregard that. We're heading to it. Clear that there is a wreck on 70 eastbound near Prospect. Front roll. Westbound Jackson right now. Should be there in a bit. Copy. It looks like lanes 1 and 2 are, or lane 1 for sure is blocked. Front roll. Copy. But as I was saying, disaster pimps. Actually, their big fantasy is to break up the boredom and monotony of everyday life by enjoying other people's suffering, basically. I love weather. I don't want to see weather hurt people or knock things over, but weather to me is very beautiful, and I love weather on a calm day, and I love weather on a bad day. I never loved it enough to become a meteorologist. I thought about it, but science and math are just not my things.
He was distraught, went to a house where he lived with his friend. This was at...
Now, extremes of weather, when I go storm chasing, my hope is twofold. One, I can help give early warning. And two is I could be there with the camera when a beautiful, graceful phenomena of weather is harmlessly meandering through a field, beautifully backlit, not harming anybody, not coming at me, especially, and not raining hail or RFD on top of me, or anybody else for that matter. I don't get off on being stuck in a storm. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I do like the excitement of the chase, and I do like the thrill of being one of those people that can give warning to others so they can take cover. I hate the aftermath. Hate. I hate going to disasters. I hate seeing the broken people and broken lives and, broken memories. I've been there. I've been in situations like that. It sucks. It hurts. You work hard your whole life just to have something in a few seconds turn it all upside down and destroy most of it. And, to be in a situation where the next day you wake up and go, wow, I am so glad to be alive. And that everybody I care about is still alive. Or you got to go to the hospital or whatever. It's terrible. So I don't get a thrill out of that. I know there's a lot of chasers out there who are the same exact way. They feel the same way. As a matter of fact, when a disaster is befalling, you can hear them praying, don't hit that house. Don't, you can hear the horror in their voices. But there are quite a few adrenaline / disaster pimps out there. That's their way of feeling useful, I guess. I hate this phone. It doesn't want to stay awake. It's my work phone. I'm glad to have another phone, but it doesn't stay awake, and it's maddening when I have my weather app on it and look down and see that it went black. And I'm required to have a passcode on it, so as far as the weather, what the weather is doing now is, well, I can still see the clouds are racing. I don't know if you can make that out. But it also did a little bit of moisture on us. Must have rained sometime, and I think it's still, I don't know, I'm still seeing some sort of spray on my windshield, but I'm not seeing the clouds that would produce it, so I'm wondering, I can't really see the river over here, but I'm wondering if it's windy enough that, I don't know what the winds are doing. I can't feel it, but I'm wondering if the wind is blowing some spray off the river.
You can update right here. The driver's down the vehicle. She's standing over there up on the right shoulder. If there's nobody here, my intention is to go ahead and get the script or get it on the shoulder here.
I got what I needed to know about that wreck. Unfortunately, it's not serious enough to really warrant going after it. It's not causing a major blockage of traffic, and there's nobody injured, doesn't sound like. That sounds horrible. Oh, you gotta go to something with somebody bleeding, you gotta go to it.
On the street.
I just know. At 4:30 to 7 in the morning, it's not going to be anybody interested in. And if they are, which one producer usually is, they'll use the scout camera on it.
Service at 2358. Number 1, number 2.
Hell, now I think my beloved phone that likes to go dark shut off my Johnson County scanner. Nope, they're just quiet. I don't like to have a workload that I really have to worry about things in the car. I like to think about just driving. And then all this stuff that I have just does its thing, you know? My live stream camera live streams. My time-lapse camera time lapses. My black box camera black boxes. Both my scanners stay on. All three of my scanners actually stay on. My primary and two auxiliary scanners. And my radar app just lets me look at the skies. Now there's no, I don't see anything on the radar app. But what this particular radar app, which is Radar Scope, which is what just about everybody and their brother uses, what it what it does is it's set up to give storm reports, and that's what I'm looking for. Is like the little symbols as there's wind blowing somewhere, and I click on it and figure out where it is and go there if there's damage. I'm not going to the lawn chairs blown over, small twigs broken, garbage cans displaced. That really is a category. There's the meme that I've seen on Facebook. It's hilarious. That shows a plastic picnic table with a lawn chair blown over, with the caption saying, "We will rebuild." Meaning, some people just get carried away with their own their own narcissism.
Respond on region AIO call when your agency is called.
We will rebuild.
Sage County 911.
Again, I just hope it's just another windy day and nothing happens. We go on with our lives and woohoo.
We're just going to stay with the prisoner until Lisa gets back with us and tells us what they want to do. We don't have any charges on them, but we're going to wait till we hear from Lisa.
Good, I do have my mask because
County 911 copies.
I am recovering from illness, and these days, and now I hope from now on, from here on out, whenever somebody has sniffles, a cold, a flu, whatever, and they out in public, don't say that it's their choice. Trust me, if I had a choice right now, I'd still be in my blankets.
1 minute.
But you have to move on. Life has to move on. So, in that case, they're just a permanent part of life from now on. We should be like the Japanese. If you feel sniffly, consider your fellow human beings and don't spread it around. Just put the mask on. Whether it's a deadly pandemic or just a case of the sneezes. You know, just that idea alone would make me want to put a face covering on and you know, get whatever vaccination I need just to help protect my fellow human beings and to stop the spread of something that could turn into something really nasty. We have not even begun to see nasty, but we have in history. Let's try a pandemic with 100% casualty rate, or not 100% casualty rate. Let's just say if you caught a certain type of this pandemic, you were dead, period. And that happened in 1347. They estimate, the current experts estimate anywhere between 60 and 70% of European population died starting in 1347 from a pandemic that mutated into something horrible. And it started with plague, which is carried by fleas, but it mutated with something else, and that's what they discovered in 2014, was that it actually mated with something else. Now, granted, this is bacterial stuff, not viral stuff, but it did mutate and mate with something else, and the pneumonic form of the plague, not the bubonic form. The bubonic form had only a 50% death rate. No, the pneumonic form of it had a 100% death rate. If you caught it, you were dead. That's what that. And it was recorded as people would catch it by sight and by, how'd they say it? By sight and by breath, or something like that. By sight and by air. Which told the experts that was a very good description of a something that was carried by people sneezing and expirating. And they described it as you could be talking to somebody and realize that the person that you were just talking to died right in front of you, dropped dead. But if you were talking to them, you were dead too.
262. Lafayette County Sheriff.
The Eastern Roman Empire, after the fall of Western, now all of the empire, Roman, Eastern and West, was, with their high population densities and centers that they had waves of plagues. Plagues have plagued human beings since there's been human beings. But the Eastern Empire especially, one of the things that weakened the Eastern Empire to the point that it eventually got destroyed and conquered only about almost 1,000 years later, but it took a long decline. The reason why they couldn't muster a strong military was in the year, 536? Maybe wrong on that one. It's in the 500s. It was one of those years that Justinian was the emperor, the one who wanted to conquer the West, reconquer the West after the fall of the West. Well, they had a plague, and the plague took out 50%, and it was bubonic, but it took out 50% of the population in the empire. And even the emperor caught it, and they thought he was a dead man, and he somehow was the lucky one and survived it. But while he was sick with it, his wife took over, and one of his generals didn't want to take orders from her. He didn't like her, and so she ended his career, and that was like the best general they had. So their conquest of the West, but also because Justinian was pig-headed, he was, well, that meant he raised the taxes on the surviving half and bled his empire dry of money so that future emperors could not continue to rely on population base and taxation, because he impoverished the empire to try to expand it, grow. So he destroyed their economy, and that essentially lasted 1,000 years in Eastern Europe and the Middle East until the Ottomans came along and finally finished off basically the desiccated corpse of the empire.
If your agency has county email nothing of the region, a PSAT closed list system, Chile County email clear, WQKD.
Oh boy, I've been blabbering on. I didn't realize there were two people watching. Oops. I didn't turn on my thing and the stuff. Uh-oh, I missed that. Scene is not secure. You know, with the weather being the way it is, warm, not windy, I'm bound to be going to cover up the activity of the what the police call the Knife and Gun Club, euphemistically called the Knife and Gun Club.
I believe it's at apartment D, on 795 now.
What are we kidding? It's mostly the gun club.
We are right at the end here. Almost right. You'll see a good one right there. North outside 745.
Oh yeah, it's pretty windy. I just felt that one. I heard it. It was like a jet airplane came by. As always, heading to Westport first. Gonna get gas. Gonna go say hi to Vanessa. No, I'm not gonna get gas. I'm just gonna say hi to Vanessa and get my snacks for the evening. Oh boy. And I wish I could figure out how to keep that. I have looked everywhere on this phone for the feature that says stay awake, but it's not to be found. One thing I hate about smartphones, sometimes they are smarter than I am. They know exactly what I want, whether I want it or not. I like the difference between the Kansas side on the scanner and the Missouri side on the scanner. Now I don't have my primary turned on. I have it's charging. But the Kansas side is like alarm. You send 1,000 police to go check on it. And the Missouri side is yeah, we have a triple shooting. Send an officer to go check it out. You know.
Company still has some new contact them.
Do you have any other warrants?
See what Westport looks like on this fine, windy Wednesday. That's what I should have called my thing. I was looking for a clever way. Wednesday, WINDS, but then that wouldn't communicate. You know, you have to be, can't be smart, Alec, or brilliant. You have to communicate exactly what your stuff is going to be because no one will watch it if you don't. Because the algorithm does not like that. Westport's dead. It's dead, Jim. It's the normal parked cars on this street. That Cadillac is always here. I wonder who that belongs to. It's like an old school Cadillac from the 80s. Yeah. The country bar over here that usually has a bunch of rowdies, and the karaoke bar that usually has a bunch of rowdies are closed tonight, so Westport should be quiet. Nobody going to the bars, getting drunk tonight, saying, I didn't get... well, I can't say it the way I usually say it. Just fill in the... Use your imagination the way I usually say it. I didn't get the girl I wanted, and somebody stepped on my toes. I'm going to my car and getting my manhood out so I can shoot up to town. Because, you know, there's no way I could win a fair fight.
322 transporting center point. 16 Chevy to Jeffrey Jones, that's the phone.
We must be understanding of people. There's a lot of this is mental illness. And a lot of these problems being created by budget cuts. You know, we had to shut down all the rehab facilities and all the mental health care facilities, you know? I'm not quite liking the idea that there's cones across everything but that one spot, and then there's this big green crane sitting there, so I'm gonna park somewhere more. Oh, God. Okay, I'm gonna sound awful. I'm being really bothered by vagrants lately. And sitting in front of a Quick Trip is the definition of vagrancy. That's an act of vagrancy when the sign there says, do not loiter, do not beg. Now, I'm not so bothered by the loitering or the begging, I can handle that. But it's the other acts of vagrancy that I can't stand. The violent acts. The harassment that you have to go through just to walk through a door. So, you know what? Rather than deal with a vagrant, I'm just going to try and go through this side door here. You know what? It's just... don't even like to be harassed. He might just be homeless and helpless and just needing help. And I can guarantee you he isn't, though. Maybe I need to find another convenience store chain, because it seems like Quick Trips are really bad for this. And to be honest with you, no Quick Trips make enough money. They can hire security. There shouldn't be a situation ever, like I find that happens a lot, where there's only one clerk in the store trying to take care of everything and nobody to protect them.
13.
41 to 40. Good. There's an old Honda Accord or Civic that got away from me before I could get turned around. Plate doesn't return.
Which direction was it going?
It was northbound last I saw it. I think I got to turn around. I can't tell where it went from there. It's in the same road right here where we're at.
1110 service. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. 769. 769. Show myself. Rip. And show blazing square service. In 15 minutes. Copy, 769-898 are not Advent. Calling any available officer to clear Mason there. 101, I can meet them from Johnson Flint. 101 at 15 minutes.
310 to the units on the outer bird. Nothing came south on Flaker at 87, so they may have gone north.
11 copy. 1711, I cleared myself. 16 minutes. 105, you know what today? 105 at 16 minutes. Calling 103, also en route to Shawnee Mission, correction Advent as well.
103 from Old Central.
Both around 17 minutes. 341. Can you copy an alarm? 10-4. It's going to be South Lakeshore Drive and Elm. Lakeshore and Elm. It's coming in through Light 360. Saying it's a mobile alarm associated with an app. Unable to provide any further info from the alarm company. We're attempting to mobile owner. 340, can you get back? Cancel from Parker Brook. 18 minutes. 102, I can take that for 103. Copy 102, being route 103 from service at 18 minutes. 107, copy 1090. 107. I'll be 1090 with the male subject. 106 will be 1090 with the female subject. We're en route to 711 on 75th Street. 106, 107, both en route 711, 75th Street. 19 minutes.
342-341, clear response for commercial alarm 13641 Metcalf Avenue.
342. Override. You can disregard my back. It's just numbers.
Copy 241 on surface.
Copy.
19 minutes.
320 on the station. In 19 minutes. And 107, I apologize. I'm not showing a 711 on 75th Street in the CAD.
Allergic reaction code 3, ladder 94, medic 1152, 10800, Mill Creek Road, at Amazon Warehouse at 10,800 Mill Creek.
107, my apologies. We'll be going to Midland right there. 19 minutes. 102, Rev. 341, attempted call back to mobile phone owner and went straight to voicemail. 10-4, 7345. 20 minutes. Alright, 20 minutes.
Ladder 94, responding code 3 allergic correction 10800 Mill Creek Road, Amazon warehouse. Use the front door. 342-341, clear response for commercial alarm 8000 West 151st Street at Taco Bell.
342. 136, make that.
Arg.
341, key coffee. 21 minutes.
Because life doesn't give you that choice. And to be honest with you, for the most part, I work by myself. Don't work by myself. Oops. Times I don't work by myself, I can adequately distance and mask. Not much of a problem. And I warn people, hey, I got a cold. I caught this crummy cold from my kid, who caught it from the juvenile delinquent in his class, who the school had to send home because his parents kept sending him to school sick. And my kid doesn't have the sense to know not to be so huggy of everyone, so he goes and hugs his friends at school, then he comes home and hugs us, and then we notice he's sniffling, and you're like, ugh. And I catch every damn thing that kid brings home. Yeah, I'm wearing a mask so that I don't get other people sick, and I'm not having, what is it they say, 14 minutes of contact with any one individual in an enclosed space. I'm not sneezing or coughing. That's what the mask is for, is to keep me from sneezing and coughing on everybody and breathing on them. So, like I say, I wish we could, like I've said earlier, I wish I could lay in bed tonight in my blankets and keep warm and listen to the wind whistle, but I can't do that. And sometime later I'm going to Satanize this car. Although I'm the only one who drives it. They're going to have to give me a... Ooh, look at that wind. Wow. They're going to have to give me a fair warning if they want me to relinquish it. And I've got to go take it to the car wash and then spray the you-know-what out of it with very strong alcohol-based. So yeah, to be fair, I think the precautions we're taking are reasonable. And it's just a head cold. If it develops into anything worse, then I'll take that test and we'll deal with it from there. But just like everybody says, if you got a cold or whatever, wear a mask, please, and limit your contact with other people. Try and stay home if you can. But they always use that wording because they know it's impossible. Try and stay home if you can. Well, my colds last 3 weeks or more. I really suck when I get a cold. My cold will last for months, like the after effects. I'll be coughing forever. And people look at me like, you're not going to kill me, are you? I'm like, oh, gee, thanks for the sympathy. No. I'll probably die from this someday because I have terrible immunity to the common cold. But I'm not going into any bars.
341-342, disregard your last. Being out for a pending disturbance 8685 West Center.
Who's Fakui? I know. I gathered by your tone. But you know the thing is, I do believe Fakui. And if you're a YouTuber, just food for thought, go to, they call themselves Time Ghost. No, it's alright. I appreciate the humor. But just go to Time Ghost. It's like a 15-minute video. Look up the plague of 1347. And that'll scare the bejesus out of you. I was talking about it earlier, if you didn't hear, about how the plague literally had a 100% death rate in the pneumonic form. Not everybody caught the pneumonic form. Pneumonic meaning it was airborne, meaning if you get it in your lungs, you're dead. So I've known all along what people like Fauci and all these people are really, really scared of. And I think they've done a horrible job of scaring the crap out of people. They should have gone up there and said, look, this is what a plague can do to the human race. Don't believe us? Let it fester in your bodies and find out what happens. Yeah, that's true. And the reason why it has such a low death rate is because it's not that contagious. But what these viruses, viri, however you say it, are working on, what their end-all achievement is to try to become very, very contagious so they could spread among their hosts and mutate and become super viruses. Yeah, I like to walk a couple times a week. And yeah, eating better is good advice, but that's not going to save you. See, the interesting thing is, back in 1347, not actually on that date, but in the successive years of dealing with pandemics, they figured out that their best advice was twofold: wear face coverings and socially distance. They said that back in the 1300s. Actually, they said that earlier than that. Because human beings have been dealing with plagues for as long as there have been human beings. Yeah, but the thing is, okay, which way do I need to go here, guys? This is, I don't think I need to go that way. There's no sign here. Did I miss the sign? Well, hopefully I'm not driving in the wrong lane. But the thing is that viruses tend to mutate, and what causes them to mutate is their hosts being complete idiots and not taking precautions. Like, you know, we have this wonderful modern technology that an understanding of virology that says that if you get a shot in the arm with a less potent version of the virus, your body learns how to fight it, and then you can fight it off. And the science is there. And we also know that you need to stay away from other people and wear a mask. Nothing too hard about that. They figured that out hundreds of years ago. Thousands of years ago, really. But what viruses are trying to do is they're trying to become more contagious. Now some people are saying, oh, this Omicron version is no worse than the common cold. It's weak. But what if the Omicron version gets with something that's not weak, and it takes on the characteristics of both, the ability to spread and the high high mortality rate. That has happened before, many times. And we should make it into the horror show that it is. That, hey, don't play with this stuff. Do what you're supposed to do. That's never happened? Not once? Well, again, I have to qualify this because this is bacterial, not viral. So, 2014, and again, you have to watch this video. 2014, they figured out what made the bubonic plague so deadly was that it mutated into two forms. The bubonic part, which is what we know of as the black pustules and swelling and everything else like that, that only had a 50% death rate in Europe. And then the pneumonic part of it, which by the way had a 100% death rate. If you caught it, you were dead. That's what that means. Both work together. The pneumonic part was not very contagious. The bubonic part was extremely contagious. They worked together and created a super plague. I would say 100% is worse than 50%. At least you have a 50-50 chance of living. But anyway, I gotta end this for now. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. I gotta go pick up my TV. So, nice talking to ya. Gotta go in and get my TV.